19-year-old black teen was mocked in Jiu Jitsu class. In 14 seconds, he earned a BLA. Beginning. The fluorescent lights of Iron Ground Academy hummed faintly overhead, illuminating the blue mat stretched tight across the training floor. Sweat, rubber, and disinfectant mixed in the air. It was late evening, but the place buzzed with noise, grunts, shuffles, the slap of bodies hitting mats. For most students, this was just another Tuesday night class. But for Darius Cole, 19 years old and fresh out of Southside Detroit, this was something else entirely. He'd only been training Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for 2 weeks. The academy was across town, in a wealthier suburb, far from cracked sidewalks and rusted basketball hoops of his neighborhood. He'd scraped together every dollar from working night shifts at a loading dock just to afford a membership. For Darius, stepping onto these mats wasn't about fitness or self-defense, or chasing an MMA career. It was about survival. He carried with him a secret that even his mother didn't know. The week before his first class, Darius had stumbled into something otherworldly. It happened in a forgotten alley between 2 abandoned auto shops. He'd been walking home, earbuds in when the ground pulsed like it had taken a breath. A faint metallic glow bled through the cracks in the asphalt. Curiosity had pulled him in, prying up a broken slab of concrete. Underneath was no pipe, no wiring, just a black sphere the size of a basketball, humming with energy. He reached for it without thinking. The instant his fingers brushed it, the sphere dissolved into streams of light that surged into his skin. His body convulsed. His vision shattered into fragments of stars, circuits, and burning galaxies. When he awoke hours later in his own bed, he thought it had been a fevered dream, but his body was different. Reflexes sharper, muscles stronger, and in his head, like a whisper, there was knowledge. Not words, not pictures, but instincts, blueprints of movement, calculations of angles, leverage, timing, fighting systems from somewhere beyond Earth. That was why he joined Jiu-Jitsu. He needed to test if what he felt inside was real or madness. Middle. Darius stood at the edge of the mats as Coach Ramirez clapped his hands. All right, guys, pair up. We're rolling light 5-minute rounds. Students broke off in twos, slapping hands and bumping fists before grappling. Darius lingered unsure until a tall, broad-shouldered white belt strode over. Yo, new kid, the guy sneered. His name was Travis, 23, a college wrestler who wore arrogance like cologne. You're up. Darius nodded, heart steady. Travis smirked, loud enough for nearby students to hear. Don't worry. I'll go easy. Don't want you running back to the hood crying. A couple chuckles rippled around them. Darius felt heat creep into his ears, but said nothing. He remembered what the whispers in his head had been telling him for weeks. Patience first, movement second, finish last. They knelt on the mats. Slap, bump. The round began. Travis lunged immediately, snapping a collar tie around Darius's neck and yanking him forward. His wrestler's grip was iron. The old Darius, weak, uncertain, would have panicked, but the other instincts surged to life. Time slowed. His mind traced angles of force, escape routes, encounters, and glowing threads across the air. He ducked under, pivoted, and somehow landed behind Travis in one fluid motion. Gasps flickered from the sidelines. Travis snarled, whipped around, and shot a double-leg takedown. It was fast enough to crush most white belts. But Darius's body moved before thought. His hips slid back, his arm threaded under Travis's neck, and in an instant he cinched a guillotine choke so tight the wrestler's eyes bulged. He pulled guard, locked his legs, and squeezed. 14 seconds. That was all it took. Travis tapped furiously. The room went silent. Coach Ramirez stepped forward, eyes wide. Darius, you've been training, 2 weeks? Yes, sir, Darius said quietly. The coach frowned, suspicion flickering across his face. This wasn't normal. New students didn't shut down college wrestlers in seconds. Yet there Darius stood, calm as stone, not even winded. Whispers spread among the class. Some impressed, some doubtful. Travis, humiliated, avoided Darius's gaze and stormed off the mat. But something else happened too. The sphere's gift pulsed inside Darius like a heartbeat, brighter than ever, as if feeding on the challenge. That night, lying in bed, Darius couldn't sleep. When he closed his eyes, visions came. Alien warriors grappling in zero gravity, mechanical beings wrestling in dimensions where time bent. The knowledge wasn't random. It was teaching him. But why? Over the next month, Darius's progress was impossible to ignore. He dominated sparring matches, submitting higher belts with effortless fluidity. Coach Ramirez called him prodigy, but even that word felt too small. Students watched him with awe and unease. People whispered that no 19-year-old could roll like that without years of hidden training. Some hinted at steroids, others at lies about his background. Darius didn't care. His mother's health bills were piling up. His neighborhood was drowning in violence. He didn't train for their approval. He trained because deep down he knew something was coming. And he was right. The shift. One evening, after class, Darius walked out into the parking lot. The air was cool, streetlights buzzing overhead. That's when he felt it. A prickling at the base of his skull. The same energy that had first surged through him in that alley, but sharper, nearer. He turned. A man leaned against a black SUV across the lot. Tall, pale, wearing a suit too clean for this part of town. His eyes glowed faintly silver. "You've adapted quickly," the man said, his voice mechanical like 2 tones layered. Darius froze. "Who are you?" The man stepped forward. "That sphere was not meant for you, Terran. Hand it over." Darius's pulse quickened. "I don't have it anymore. It fused with me." The man's eyes narrowed. "Then you are the vessel." Before Darius could react, the man's arm split at the elbow, unfolding into a metallic blade. He lunged with inhuman speed. Instinct took over. Darius sidestepped, hooked the blade arm, and executed a throw he'd never practiced, but somehow knew. The suited figure crashed on the asphalt, denting it. The man rose without pain. Impressive. The archive chose well. Others stepped in the shadows. 3, 4, 5 figures with glowing eyes. Hunters. Middle, rising conflict. The fight was chaos. Blade slash. Energy pulses cracked the air. But on the mats of Iron Ground Academy, Darius had been unknowingly preparing for this. Every grip, every sweep, every submission, now adapted against alien physiology. He ducked under a plasma strike, wrapped an arm, and broke a joint that wasn't supposed to bend. He used a kimura to rip free a weapon from another's hand. His body flowed like water, but stronger, faster, beyond human. Still, there were too many. Just when he thought he'd be overwhelmed, headlights flared. Coach Ramirez's truck barreled into the lot, screeching to a halt. The coach leapt out, holding nothing but a tire iron. "Darius, what the hell's going on?" "Get back!" Darius shouted, but Ramirez didn't back down. Together, coach and student fought side by side, though Ramirez could barely keep up. Eventually, the hunters withdrew, their leader glaring at Darius. "This is not over, vessel. The archive belongs to the sovereign." And then, in a flash of light, they vanished. Climax. The next days blurred into survival. Darius confessed part of the truth to Ramirez, who, to his credit, didn't run. Instead, the coach doubled down, closing the academy's doors at night, training Darius harder, pushing his endurance and strategy. "You got something in you, kid," Ramirez said, "but skill's no good without control." Meanwhile, the visions grew stronger. Darius realized the archive inside him wasn't just teaching him techniques. It was preparing him for war. A war humanity didn't even know was coming. The Sovereign were out there, harvesting worlds, stealing cultures, absorbing every fighting system in the galaxy into their empire. Earth was next. The sphere hadn't been a mistake. It was a weapon, smuggled here to find Protector. That Protector was him. The final battle came sooner than expected. A month later, during a tournament at a downtown arena, the Sovereign struck. Mid-match, the ceiling split open in a storm of fire and metal. Panic erupted as alien soldiers descended, but Darius was ready. He moved through the chaos like a storm given flesh. Throws, chokes, locks, every motion amplified by alien precision. Spectators watched, half in terror, half in awe, as a 19-year-old fighter dismantled warriors not of this earth. At one point, Travis, the same wrestler who once mocked him, froze in fear as the soldier advanced. Without hesitation, Darius stepped in front of him, took the blow, and countered with submission so brutal the alien collapsed in a heap. Travis stared, shaken. Why would you save me?" Darius answered simply, "Because we fight together, or we don't fight at all." Ending. Hours later, the Sovereign retreated, their forces crippled. News outlets called Darius a hero. Some filmed his every move. Footage of a teenager submitting aliens with martial arts spreading across the world. But fame didn't matter. Standing on the broken arena floor, surrounded by civilians he had saved, Darius knew the truth. This wasn't the end. It was the first battle in a war much larger than Earth. The archive inside him pulsed again, feeding him new visions. Of starships, of alien masters, of a galaxy waiting for rebellion. He clenched his fists. He was no longer the kid who worked loading docks, mocked and underestimated. He was something more. In 14 seconds, he'd earned not just respect, not just redemption. He'd earned a Black Legacy archive, a power that would change the fate of humanity. And the galaxy was about to learn his name.